again. Welcome, everybody. Guys, we're going to turn the time over to Michael Huggins. He's going to be hosting this for us. Really grateful to have him. When I first came down to this community, guys, I was lost. I didn't know what I was doing. I was a teacher that absolutely loved teaching, but I did not have the vision that was necessary to create that life by design. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, a little bit more in detail, how we can create that vision, how we can go and dive into what is possible for ourselves. And without any further ado, Michael Huggins, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you.
Cool. Good to see you all here. Okay, so I'm going to bring out our first trainer in just a few minutes, but I want to set the stage and make sure we are all clear about why we're here, what's going on, and how we can maximize this. So I just want to make sure I got all my co-hosts assigned. So those of you who are co-hosts, go ahead and let people in the room as they are joining. There we go. Yes, this is going to be awesome. So folks, some of you, this is your very first event. So I want to welcome you. Glad you're here. There is a lot of things going on behind the scenes inside of our organization. And some of you are returning this week, this month, seen you a few times. And some of you have been around for years with us. Travis, I see you. Good to see you again. And Bertha, Gamer, great to see you. Glad you're here. Kathy, Laura. Wow, we got people from coast to coast here. All right, so if you do want to have a friend or a partner or somebody in here, go ahead, use the invite link at the bottom of the participant list and send them an invite. Let's get more people here. The more people that participate and the more people that get connected, the faster we can all grow and hit our goals and our achievements that we're after, which is what today is all about. Vision, goal setting, planning, following the American dream, pursuing what's important to you. Remember, there's no promise of happiness, but the pursuit. It's up to you. Hi, Roxy. Great to see you too. Awesome. All right, everyone's flooding in. Okay, Diego, we won't skip her either. Good morning to you too. All right, so I'm going to get my whiteboard pulled up here real quick, and then we're going to get into this. But first, I want to share our mission. Some of you are not on a mission, and it's costing you. So let's change that. Let me show you our mission real quick here. This is our mission. Our mission is to empower 1 million motivated individuals with principle-centered entrepreneurial knowledge so they may attain financial independence as business owners and real estate investors. That's our mission. And you're part of that. You are on that mission with us. All right, so I got this in here. We're synced up. Let me bring this over to the whiteboard now. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, while I'm doing that, I would like to know who here is a first-timer. First-timer visiting with us. Put it in the chat. First time or number one.
Maybe, I think you're on the speaker.
Sí. Claro que sí. See, I'm learning too. Also, it's a very interactive group, so go ahead and put it in the chat. If you got questions or concerns, comments, ideas, we got people here ready to help you answer your questions. Awesome. Jared and Timkia is here. Hey, good to see you. Amy and Danielle. Awesome. Great. Okay. Let's get this pulled up here. What are we all about? Why are we here? Today's not about me, but to create some context, I'm going to briefly talk about how this whole world works in the world of real estate and what we're up to and why it's working for me. All right, can everyone see my whiteboard? Make sure I can see all your pretty faces too. There we go. Okay, so let's get this thing going here. Could have sworn. All right. Well, that's working. I'm gonna get this on. Aha, that was all I needed. Get this back up. Share screen. By the way, folks, we're live. This is not some canned recording you get to Watch, we're really here with you. Okay, now we got to get into this. Boom. Awesome. Okay, vision. Vision, vision, vision. This is what we're after. This is our vision quest that we are on today. And one thing we got to understand is that every one of us has what's called a self-image. And your results in life are directly related to your self-image. So if you see yourself being healthy, then you will live into that and you will get those results with your self-image. If you see yourself being wealthy or surrounded by important relationships or you're contributing to society in a way, your self-image is the determining factor on your results. The challenge is that we were raised in a culture and raised in a country where this K through 12 model has given us a different type of vision to be an employee, to be some people I've heard it called sheeple, right? Where you just follow the person in front of you and there's no awareness, there's no consciousness or choices. We need to get away from this. This lacks vision. If you want to manifest your life in the way that you see other people doing, living where they want to live, doing what they want to do, eating what they want to eat, wearing what they want to wear, driving what they want to drive, being who they want to be, then you have to surround yourself with people who are doing that. That's what today is all about. I'm going to introduce 8 people to you throughout today's workshop who have revolutionized their self-image, and they're going to give you the steps that they've used to get dramatically new results. And I'm using that word dramatically correctly. Huge, life-changing, unrecognizable position from where they started to where they are now. Some people did it in a handful of years. Some people did it in a couple months. Some people took the better part of a decade to do it. But one thing I am clear on is it's going to take a few things. It's going to take time. If any one of you here on the line today are not willing to put in at least 6 months, really, I want to say 1 year. If you're not willing to put in 1 year to build a business, your time is better spent today watching TV or scrolling on Facebook, going to a park, going to a bar, getting drunk. Your time, you have way more better use of your time doing that than pretending like you're going to work with us. Okay? So no pretending. It's going to take time. So if you're not willing to put in the time, at least 1 year, to build a business and get out of the rat race, leave now. There's a little red button on the bottom right of your screen or the top left, somewhere in there. Leave. Okay? It's going to take time. It's also going to take effort. Now, I have 2 new boys. I'm a new dad, okay? And I'm in love with them. They're so freaking cool. Oh my goodness. But one thing I've learned is we have to acknowledge and reward effort. Effort. Some of you lived in such a coddled life going through the K through 12 model that you don't know about effort. And so we're going to teach you, we're going to show you, but it is going to require some effort. You know what else it's going to require, which I did not understand at the beginning? I had a wrong understanding of this word relationships. If you don't have key relationships about the real estate industry, about business, about entrepreneurship, it's going to be so much harder. Relationships are a shortcut. We've all heard that phrase. It's not what you know, it's who. It's who you know. And even more importantly, if we take that one step further, it's not who you know, but it's how they know you. Do they know you as the Jiffy Lube oil changer, or do they know you as the sophisticated real estate investor? Do they know you as the grocery store bagger, or do they know you as the legitimate real estate investor that you are? So the relationships, how they know you, not just who you know, but how they know you. So if you're not willing to build relationships, this is not going to work either. It's going to take time. It's going to take effort. It's going to take relationships. It's going to take some knowledge too. Unfortunately, the useful knowledge that we got or that we need in this world of business and life was left out of the K through 12 model. Inside of that knowledge is not just going to be technical things like how to carry the one or move a decimal point, but it's going to be things about personal knowledge. How does your brain work? How do you learn? What is it like to raise my responsibility? What does that look like? That kind of knowledge too, not just technical knowledge. Technical knowledge is great. We're going to go through some of that today. And of course, those of you who hang out with us on a regular basis, we go through a lot of technical stuff. But there's also plenty to be said about self-knowledge. So we're going to go into that today as well. The men and women who I get to introduce to you today have gone deep in the self-knowledge to figure out how to get the most out of life. Now, when we say the most out of life, let's be clear. And I got just a minute before we bring out our first trainer. The results in life are multidimensional, so it's not just money. And we're gonna put it in the 5 F's. Okay, this is how our CEO likes to talk about it. The 5 F's are family, fitness, finance. Oh, I can spell. Finance, faith, and fun. Are you winning in all these areas? So this is what we do as a company, as a culture, as an organization, is help you get on point with all of these areas: family, fitness, finance, faith, and fun. How you go about it? Well, that's going to be up to you and your personality and your preferences, who you spend time with. But this is the emphasis. This is what we call life by design. And the people who we get to hear from today, trust me, I'm going to be taking notes because these people inspire me like crazy. Life by design. How they engage with their family, the relationships that they have, how they take care of their bodies, and the food awareness that they have, the unshakable financial, powerhouses that they've created over the years, and then the faith. Maybe it's faith in their God or their church, their religion, themselves. But there has to be that extra piece that's not the tangible part of life. We all know about it. Some of you don't want to talk about it, but there is that non-tangible piece of life that if you ignore, well, life will suck a little bit more. And then, of course, fun. Having fun. What's the point of all the work and all the sacrifice and all the stress if you don't enjoy it and you don't have any fun with it? So the have it all lifestyle, life by design balance of these 5 areas of life is what we do on a regular basis, what we help thousands of people across the country do. And today we're going to dive deeper into that. Now, some of you are guests, so welcome. We're glad you're here. This is one of the best places to be. And some of you are returning. You've been here for a few months and you're like, hey, where's that result that I'm after? You're going to hear how to get that today. And some of you have been around for years and you just want to level up. You're like, great, I've done 10 deals. How do I get to 20? Or you've done 30 deals. How do I get to 60? You made 10 grand in a month. How do I make it 20 grand in a month? So some of you are here to level up. Some of you are here brand new. Regardless, I'm super stoked about today. I went from making 20 grand a year changing oil to 20 grand a month to 20 grand a week owning a real estate investing empire. The people who you get to hear from today followed steps, followed a system, and we could talk about the system and the steps on other classes. Today, we're going to talk about what goes on in the mind. How do we take that vision, make it clear, because quite often it's blurry, and then make it real and step into it and live into it, and then inspire others to do the same. Our first trainer today comes to us from the East Coast. His name is Umair Haq. He used to be a MMA fighter, boxing, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu. He also worked at restaurants making pennies, working all kinds of crazy hours making pennies. And he was not raised in a family that focused on academics. So when he got introduced to the world of education, real estate, personal development, knowledge, growth, that was all new to him. And to be able to hear what he's done in the world of business, real estate, finance, family, faith, fitness, finance, fun, be very inspiring. So folks, as we get into this and these trainers, they each got about 15 or so minutes, and we're going to go through and they're going to share their pieces. So by the end of this, please compile your notes, review it, and let's use it, because these people have results that make the world envious. Now, it's not about envy. I don't want to say that, but I'm so proud of them and what they've been able to accomplish. So you're in the right place at the right time. So let's give a big warm welcome to our first trainer, Mr. Umer Haq. Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Good morning. Can you guys hear me and see me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear. Looking good.
All right. What's up, Michael? Thank you so much, dude. You inspire me. I'm so grateful to have awesome friends like you, man. Yeah, I've only got 15 minutes, and what's really amazing is this is the perfect time to have this type of meeting, because I'm just going to share with you what I've been doing every year for the past 7 years, and I'm seeing my income and my lifestyle and things duplicate. So I want to be able to share my screen, and I'm going to go through the 7 steps to really maximizing who you are and getting the results that you want. Because today's not really about me or the group, it's about you. So I'm going to share my screen, and I want you to write these 7 things down, and then I'm going to explain them to you. I know everybody's brain's different. So here are the 7 things that I do every year. I'm actually doing it right now. There's 7 components that are going to help you do whatever it is you want to do, guys. Number 1, let's talk about this first. Okay. Logic versus emotion. Okay. Logic versus emotion. Now, a lot of times people are super analytical, super logical. They think too much. And I've met a lot of smart, broke people. Okay. And on the other hand, many times people are very emotional. They get they got lit on fire by going to a meeting or going to a conference, or they get the bug the January 1st to actually work out and lose weight or gain weight or whatever it is. And they're all lit up. And then a couple weeks later, they're sitting on the couch eating potato chips. So if you guys are going to win in this game, you can't be hyper logical and you can't be hyper emotional. Guys, it takes both. It really takes both. But what I've learned by creating success for myself over and over and over again in different contexts is, we talked about logic and emotion, but the other side of this is pain and pleasure. Write this down. Pain and pleasure. Okay. Now, most human beings respond to pain more than they respond to pleasure. Would you guys agree? Like, sometimes you meet people that are just so comfortable in their life and their job and their 9 to 5. They're doing all right. They're not really living their best life, but they're comfortable and they barely ever do anything. But if they lose their job, if they lose a loved one, if they lose $100,000, well, that pain sticks with them. Would you guys agree? So what I do every single year, and what I've done is I had to I had to lead with emotion and follow it up with logic. All right. Lead with emotion, followed by logic. So, and I'll give you guys examples. When I was really broke, and this has really hurt me. Like, I remember a girlfriend of mine, we went to the beach for a day trip, and we were really tired and we didn't want to drive home. And I just didn't have any money. And my girlfriend at the time had to pay for a hotel for us to stay in. And that broke me as a man. It just broke me. Like, it hurt me so bad. And I'll never forget that day, because she had to pay for us to have a place to stay. And it made me not feel like a provider. And that moment in time stuck with me for years. And it's funny because about a year after that, I actually found this group. Another example was, I used to work for the school system. I was making less than 30 grand a year, basically doing childcare. And I had a boss tell me that I would work for that same school system till the day that I die. And that boss, her name was Miss Owens, and maybe she didn't mean it well, maybe she did. She was a mean boss. And those emotional moments have stuck with me for years. I'm ADHD, I'm a little dyslexic, and I was unable to get good grades with the, what did Michael call it? The K to 12 model. That was hilarious, right? So I really was not good at that. But having an IEP and people like my parents not believing in me or making me feel bad, those painful things have really stuck with me for life. So if you're going to make it as a business person, if you're going to make your goals come to fruition, I want you to be able to write down the pain and the hurt that you have and the reason why you started this in the first place, because you're going to need to leverage it as soon as you think about giving up. Does that make sense? A lot of times people start things over and over and over and over again, but the reason or the pain that they felt is forgotten. So if you're going to reach your goals today, right now, everyone's different. For some people, it's a husband that left them, you know, and they just hate that person and they want to prove them wrong. Whatever it is, guys, you need to anchor a strong emotional charge towards getting the thing that you want to get, because without it, you'll just give up. Does that make sense? So that's step one. If you do not have a strong emotional charge, if it doesn't bring out emotion in you, if it doesn't hurt you, then it's not the right thing. All right. That's what you need to do first. Number two, you got to have a personal vision. Personal vision. Okay. And I don't have a lot of time. I'm sorry. I'm running out of time. So personal vision. Michael talked about this, but you got to know who you are and the vision of who you want to create. Okay. Number three, after your personal vision, you got to have a business vision. Vision. See, I can't even spell. And you're going to see how all of these 7 steps come together. Logic versus emotion. So you got to start with the pain and sit in it for a little while. Then you got to build out a personal vision, a business vision. Number 4 is education or classes. Okay. I'm going to break them down. Number 5 is benchmarks. And I'm going to show you how I've applied this in my own life. Number 6, after you have certain benchmarks, are action steps. Because you don't want to just be an information junkie. You don't want to just have an idea of what you want to do. You need to create actual benchmarks and action steps. And then number 7 is accountability. Accountability. All right. These are the 7 things that you must have if what you're saying that you want to have happen in your life is actually going to happen. Does that make sense, guys? If you're missing one of these 7 steps, then you might fizzle out. Okay, let me give you an example. I'm going to give you an example of myself. Okay, so I wanted to become financially flexible. I wanted to have happiness and I wanted to be able to support my family. I wanted more flexibility in my life. And so I was emotionally charged with everyone beating me up about not being able to do like tests or not being good at math. And like my family looked down on me, society looked down on me. And so like I was angry and had a lot of pain. So I used that pain to create a personal vision of myself, of who I wanted to be, which is a real estate investor, a business owner, an entrepreneur, someone who makes moves. So I had a vision, a self-vision of who I wanted to be in the world. And initially, my business plan was I wanted to flip houses. Okay. I don't flip houses anymore. I've adjusted my business model since. But initially it was I wanted to flip houses. So I had a business vision of being a flipper. All right. So I'm just going down this path. Now, when I found this group, they showed me that how I could learn by working with a trusted group, how I could learn at my own pace and time, how I could have people to bounce ideas off of, how I can participate in mastermind groups. So then I used the education in the classes and I kept down that path, right? Now, I can watch classes all day. I could watch YouTube videos all day, but then I just end up becoming an informational junkie. It's like I knew a lot of stuff, but I wasn't making any money. So what I did is I took my coursework and I broke it down into benchmarks, okay? Now, this is how I want you to break down your benchmarks. You can do a yearly, if you're just starting out, like a yearly benchmark. But if you're really going to get good at this over time, you want to break your benchmark. You want to drill down on your benchmarks. So what I do now is I start with the big picture, which is my overall plan for the year. So there's your yearly benchmark, then there's your quarterly benchmark, then there's your monthly benchmarks, then there's your weekly benchmarks, and you break this all the way down to your daily benchmarks. Okay? Because you gotta have benchmarks, like on a straight line, things that you're gonna do. You're like, for instance, when I first started flipping houses, benchmark number one was, hey, I got to get the context in my head. That's the information. That's just step one. And then after I got the information on my head, I had to build a team that can support me in doing house flipping, like contractors, title companies, agents, all that stuff. And then after I had a team, I had to start making offers, because unless I made offers, I couldn't have conversations to get deals done. And after I started making offers, you know, I got an offer accepted. Now, and then, oh, before even that was getting the funding figured out. So there was benchmarks, and those benchmarks were led by daily actions, right? So the benchmarks and the action steps sort of go together, but first you want to write out your benchmarks and then create action steps towards doing it. Now, when you start doing action steps, you're going to get punched in the face. What I mean by that is people are going to tell you no. Ooh, right? And we're so like, unless you did step one appropriately, unless you have enough leverage on yourself, like, man, I really got to prove my family wrong, then talking to people. Do you guys agree that in this day and age, it's hard to talk to people sometimes? We're just not used to it. We're used to staring at our screens. But in order to be a business person, you got to talk to people. And so anytime that I'm hitting a goal, or I'm reaching something new, or I'm wanting to make something happen, I get hit with resistance. It smacks me right in the face. And every single time I get hit with resistance, I have an opportunity. It's like, okay, it was uncomfortable me joining a group of investors that knew more than me, that were smarter than me, that were doing the things that I wanted to do. And I got hit with all this resistance because I wanted to go back to where I was comfortable. But I didn't. I sat in the pain, and it drove me forward. Does that make sense? So after you really break down benchmarks and action steps, guys, you need an accountability partner. Now, a lot of times you can find an accountability partner in your significant other. You can find an accountability partner within the community. If that's not good enough for you, you can go ahead and get yourself a coach. Last year, I got myself a coach, and I pay her. And I'm grateful that I did that, because I needed some accountability. When I started making more money than I thought that I needed, I needed to go back and create a better vision of what I want to do in the world, right? Because it's not just money. You got to have a vision for who you are, what you stand for, and what mark you want to leave before you leave the planet, right? So guys, as you're planning for your year, as you're planning for living a tremendous lifestyle, as you're planning to become a flipper or a money lender or I love seller financing other people's houses now. I was like, man, I want to make a plan to be a bank. And my name's Umair. I call my bank Bank of Umerica. It just sounded cool. And now
Oh, awesome.
I went from being someone who couldn't really go to a bank to get money to being a bank. And I love the fact that I get the opportunity to help people finance their houses. Guys, I only had a short amount of time with you. I hope you take these 7 steps, you write them down, and you follow them. Because if you do this correctly, anything's possible. Michael,
Well done.
thank you for having me, my friend.
Yeah.
You are awesome. And I just
Thanks for opening up and sharing what's been working for you. And when did you decide to be a real estate investor? I just want to put some numbers up real quick, and then we'll get to our next trainer. But when did you decide? What year and what month?
I decided I was like 24 when I started watching YouTube videos. I was 26 when I found the group. I'm going to be 36 in February. So about a decade ago.
Okay, so folks, he's been working on it for a decade and he's done nearly 100 deals. So that's why I said at the beginning, hey, this is going to take some time. But if
Yeah.
you stick with it, boy, howdy, you're going to have a different life. Umair, and what's your biggest month when you combine all your business profits, real estate profits, everything? What's the most money you've made in a month?
In a month, I'd probably say 160,000 in a month. Yeah, in a month. Now it doesn't happen all the time, but I think that was my biggest month. It was in August when I looked at like what I did
Yeah,
with my deals and what I did with, my
man.
other business. So
And how long would it take you in your old life to make 160,000?
5 years.
And you did it in one month.
Like, yeah.
Woo! Well
Yeah,
done.
man.
And I know we could keep going, but
God is
it's
good.
exciting stuff. Folks, stick with us. Umair is one of the trainers inside our organization. So if you want a chance to work with him, follow up with your host, the person that got you here, and let's schedule a strategy session and help you get the results that you're after.